Watch what you say. 5 seconds.
Put this whole thing together.
Yeah,
You did?
or one of them did.
Go on.
Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Auburn Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Now called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by local access programming. Is there anyone here in the audience tonight that is recording tonight's meeting? Seeing none. Please join us and rise to
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I would like to remind the audience, applicants, town administration, and each of the planning board members to please refrain from asking questions in regards to all matters discussed this evening without first being granted my consent. First item on our agenda tonight is applicant Lee Morse requesting site plan approval and a special permit under section 3.2.5.4 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for an entertainment facility at 416 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass. Map 32, parcel 2. Anyone here? Good evening, Todd.
Good evening,
Motion to
Mr.
open.
Chairman.
Is there a motion open?
Oh, may I have a motion to open the hearing?
I'll make the motion.
You have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? John?
Am I voting or not?
Oh, that's right. Glenn?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Myself, John Reed, and I, it is a vote. The meeting is now open. Hearing is now open.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Todd Broder from Fletcher Tilton here on behalf of the applicants who are conveniently seated in your front row here, Lee, Tim, and Nate, and John Mulryan's with them as well. So we're here tonight to present a reuse project for the former Big Lots. I think I'll always call it the Toys R Us, but I think you know what I'm talking about. The facility on Southbridge Street at 416. The proposal is to transform that facility into a family entertainment center. So a couple of the things that might be included in the entertainment center are arcade games, simulators, maybe a little simulator golf, a little mini golf, laser tag. It would host birthday parties and other group events, and then it would offer a variety of food and beverage. So the site is, we took an overview shot on this thing. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's the white roofed building in the picture on the screen. The existing parking lot would stay, the building would stay. This is really an internal to the building type of project with, external changes only as needed to signage and the like. Excuse me, this facility right now, you may know, Big Lots is in a bankruptcy process, and this is, I call it a bit of a rescue, but they're looking for a new operator for this space. So these folks have come together and pitched this plan and are entering into obligations with the landlord in this case to have a long-term existence at the space. So they'd be investing significant funds into the building and turning it into this family entertainment center. This is in the local business zone. It is in the Aquifer Zone 2. Parcel size is about 4.25 acres. The building's 44,000 square feet or so. It's got, Auburn water and sewer. I put up the definition for the use category that we fall within, which is kind of indoor amusement. Indoor facility open to the public for a fee or admission charge, such as bowling alley, escape room, trampoline park, video arcade. It is the closest alignment to this type of use that exists in the bylaw. Again, previously Big Lots or Toys R Us, and we're not proposing at this time any site alterations, proposing to use the facility essentially as is. I have a little bit on parking should we need to get into it, but the parking's going to remain what it is. It's sufficient for the purpose. It was always sufficient for the retail use that was there. And the parking count is pretty much, what's necessary is pretty much the same for this use. So we don't have extensive site plans on this project. So we did file for site plan because we have the special permit application in, the site plan application's required. But we simply provided the overview plan because this is truly a reuse of the building and no site changes are contemplated. Site entrance, exit would be the same, everything would be the same. So, I'm happy to answer questions, but that is all that we have as a presentation for you tonight. I can tell you hours of operation, because you might ask, I guess I should answer that. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 12 to 9 p.m., Friday, 12 to 11 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. What kind of questions do you have?
Anyone from the audience have any questions? Could you go up to the podium and state your name and address, please?
I'm in a
Could you please speak into the mic?
You have to bend the mic down to
I'm
you.
Nancy Mangula. I am in a butter. I live right next door to the proposed site. So I think my questions would be, I wanted to find out what exactly was going on. Hours concern me a little bit. As far as the lateness, I work at a hospital, I go to bed early, I get up early, so noise, light pollution also is a concern for me. As far as parking lights, I've gone through several years of big lots illuminating my kitchen, and it's over now, but that, moving forward, I wish you well with your business, if that's what it is. I'm here because I live right next door. So noise, light pollution, yeah, the hours, and if it does spill into exterior, just because we live here, I live here, we live here, and so with great respect to what you're trying to do, I'm not trying to stop you, I'm just asking you to be considerate of, or mindful of, that it isn't all just businesses, that I live there. Thank you. Okay.
Just to comment quickly, there's no exterior activities planned. This is indoor facility, so there won't be, you know.
I think it was like the evening goes till 11 o'clock, right? And now it's closing at 11, you're all illuminated, now I'm still lit up.
That was proposed for our time.
Understood. Thank you so much. I'm
Sure.
not trying to be
Nope, no problem.
challenge or difficult, I'm just, thank you
We'd be happy to talk to you, too, about what specific lights,
so much.
the specific lighting we could talk about, because we don't see it from your angle, right? But it may be that there's a certain set of lighting that is problematic that we can address.
Sign in front of the building. Anyone else from the audience? Anyone on the board?
I got a couple questions. So, to our fellow citizens here is concerned, are you guys actually planning to put that big neon sign up front, or is that just a rendering? Okay, all right.
This is a concept plan, just to give you the flavor.
The exterior facade of the building is gonna get paint and a sign, the zone, but not that, we hope not glaring into people's kitchens,
We're looking more of a backlit sign in our case versus a frontlit sign.
Okay.
It'll have to conform to the zoning bylaw, otherwise we'll have to be in talking to zoning board about relief, and I think that's not the intention.
So I'm assuming that parking lot, I'm assuming you guys are going to do some improvements to the parking lot, or at least clean up the paving, so,
Clean up the paper, there's trash all around.
yeah.
That hasn't been for years, but we're actually thinking of not really changing the paving, fixing any potholes or anything like that that's in there, and spraying it and relining it.
Okay. Are there going to be any lights out there, like posts for when people are coming out of the building, get into their car? Just
there's existing lights.
okay. Could we provide, maybe just to make them feel better, provide a light pollution study, just showing that we're not going to have any light go off outside the property lines?
It's gotta be zero at the,
Yeah, it has to be zero at the property line. Just, I think it'll make them feel better, and I think you get friends on your side, just to show that.
Yeah, I think the nice thing is that the current lighting isn't on the side towards you, I believe.
Yeah,
But
just something to, and then my final question is, what are you guys expecting to be peak crowd, I guess?
Saturday and Sunday, between 12 and 4.
Okay,
Would be our estimate based on the research we've done at other facilities.
okay,
Go out to like facilities around the state. They're peaking weekends, midday.
okay. So I'm assuming it's going to be more family, younger children demographics rather than high schoolers who hang out at all times.
We're gonna have security,
Okay.
our own security in there also, so we don't want to have loitering, and,
Okay.
we also work with the local police, talk with them and their recommendations about cameras, and, I personally, we all know them anyway, so they've told us the issues that they've had, and we can work with them also.
Okay. I think that's all I had.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question about the police. All I see here is just a concern by Lieutenant Hayward about security cameras. Were there other concerns that they had? Could you expound on them if you know?
Basically about putting cameras up on the outside and inside, which there currently are anyway.
Okay.
We do want to explore further just to see that we have enough cameras on the outside, but the inside is many, many cameras, as that being a retail store previously. So, other than that, they just, want us to be aware of loitering that could happen, and that's about it. We told them we're going to have security, and they said that's a great idea.
And one other thing, why the need to stay open till 11 o'clock?
That's why we said, we're not sure, so we look at the other facilities around, the areas, Apex, stuff like that, they're open on certain days till 11. To be honest, we don't want to sit there, waste money paying employees when nobody's there, because there probably won't be. It's only if a family party or a kid's party would go, it's probably realistically not going to be 11 o'clock. We didn't want to limit ourselves to, and lie to you guys and say, hey, we're going to close at 9, when in reality, 9 to 10 might be the actual, could be 9:30.
Okay, thank you.
We'd like to play it by ear as we open, and then see if it dies off, we want to kind of knock that down.
Rakesh? I'll get to you.
Thank you guys for coming in. A few questions. One is on the traffic. I think, have you guys made any assessments and traffic assessments on how many cars are expected to go in and out of the lot?
We haven't made an assessment, we didn't do a traffic study. That is in the dead center of town, which is extremely busy. There's multiple exits to the property too. You can go through the Starbucks, the dental area, which travels all the way through all those other parking lots too. So with us not knowing exactly how many people we plan to be able to have at peak in there, just kind of,
Can we use the microphone?
May I go to the microphone? My
Just
fault.
use the mic, Tim.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
what was the question again, please?
No, just understanding the traffic impacts. based
Yeah,
on-
with having the multiple exits there and us not knowing exactly what our load would be, we're guessing at our max would be, between 400 and 500 is our estimate right now. And that's probably at peak hours, and that's more during the day, not during the night. So I don't think that we're adding any more load than when you would drive by a Big Lots and it would be completely full.
And I think, going back to Jason's question, is that, so that peak, the 12 to 4 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, that's the 400?
Yes, that's when we would anticipate, as the evening comes on, kids go to bed and parents kind of take off and go home. That's why we're not truly saying 11 o'clock would be the time that we'd be open. Yeah, we're not trying to really cater as much to the teenage because they tend to linger around and, it will look very good for teenagers too, but it's going to have kiddie stuff and good for parents. It's just good for families, not just teenagers that come and, raise a little ruckus.
Excuse me. You got to wait your turn. Because you're talking, nobody can hear you up here. They're not getting the recording. So when these gentlemen are done, I don't know if you saw me, I said, but I'll get back to you, and I will. I'll have you come back up and address more concerns that you have.
Just a couple of more questions, and then the audience can get in. On the process side, Adam, so so there is no site plan required to be submitted here?
A site plan is required with a special permit, however, they weren't really proposing any changes to the site, so there wasn't really much of a need to do a engineer plan, since the engineering wasn't changing.
So if there is any changes to the lighting setup, would that require a site?
If the board would like to see a lighting plan, you can either continue this to the next meeting or condition it that we get one in hand.
Now, also on the other agencies, I understand the police department was contacted. Outside of that, anyone else, so fire?
Board of Health, Economic Development had a recommendation just to approve the plan. I do not have any other comments from any other department.
And then because food is being served, right, with the restaurant, would that require anything else there?
I would have to go to the Board of Health for permitting.
Then last question, just to you guys as developers, are there any lessons gained from Apex in Marlboro, since that's in the neighborhood?
Any lessons gained from them?
Yeah.
Absolutely. One is just, hours matter, staffing matters, security matters, pretty much. What's that? Cleanliness, absolutely, so we've gone through other facilities, and Apex is a beautiful facility, very new, very nice and clean, and we'd like to be able to carry that same type of standard going forward there.
I did see, I think in the slide deck, there was an indication that I think after the third year, you're looking at expansion opportunities to think about, more broader, additions, right?
I mean, we never want to say no, but currently the space couldn't handle it. So without us having to, put an addition on and make it a major modification, maybe at that point the facility just wouldn't work for us if we were going to try and change it. So for this facility, we're thinking it's somewhere about what we're looking for indoor currently.
And then, parking lights, if you do find with your survey that they're going on to the other people's property or they're above zero, you can shield them so that it will protect
Yes.
wherever it is that...
Yeah, they make very well shielded lights, much better than they probably did for Toys R Us, 40 years ago, 45 years.
How many parking spaces do you have there?
Currently, I believe it's about 250?
265.
265? Yeah.
261, it's 255 to 265 in that range.
Yeah, 255 to 265.
What will you have inside the building that will be anything that would generate noise that could transmit to the outside?
No, I mean, that's a solid block building, so, and there's not really any windows in there. Everything is, fire doors and escapes, but the only windows are
Have windows all across the front?
right at the front, but I mean, if you look at it, it's about 40 feet of windows in the entire building. So, I mean, to really have sound exit out. And there's a separate entryway. If you've ever been in that building over the years, it has that sliding door, and then there is another place they used to have other doors there, but I mean...
But what is it that's inside that could cause noise?
Oh, I mean,
What
children
types of
being
things?
happy and having fun. That's what I would generally say. I mean, it's not a wild party place.
Don't have like loud music coming?
No, the music, well, there is a stereo system that's built in throughout the whole thing, so really, we'd be in full control of that. We might offer like a night of kids to have a, sing-along or sing-off or stuff like that here and there, but I mean, it's not going to blare out the entire building. We have to respect every other customer that's in there also. So what's good for some people may not be good for everybody else, so we're trying to keep it where everybody's under the same volume level in there.
All right, one more question. I know you said food. Are you guys going to be applying for some type of beer and wine license, or?
We are. We are going to apply for that. Food is going to be very light, just so you know. It's not going to require a hood or anything like that. We will still have to, of course, meet with the Board of Health and go through that, but it's going to be very light food. We're not cooking steaks or, it's going to be more air fry food and heated up food versus, no air fry. I mean, no fryer-laters or anything like that, so. But yeah, food and beverage, we'd like to apply for an alcohol and wine beverage.
So it's going to be a full liquor license or just the beer and wine?
I think a full liquor. is what we're going to go for.
I'll save mine till last. You can come up again now if you'd like to, please.
Oh, he had asked me a question. She asked me a question, so I just answered it. Thank you.
Well, we didn't hear the answer, so
So I think we were talking.
Mike, please.
over to the
Thank you.
mic, please.
Do you remember?
Teenagers.
Oh, yeah, concerns are for, right? Is that what
Yes.
we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's full liquor license, you know, maybe that's, you know, security, things like that. Maybe just the late hours. Yeah.
Anything else from anybody in the audience? Board? Okay. So my first question is how many bathrooms you're going to have?
So we are doing the numbers on that right now, and, you know, if it has to have enough to require for, I believe it's 25 persons to each toilet, so we have to come up with that. We're doing the plan right now on that.
And you'd mentioned go-karts in your,
That was for a previous space. We're not going to be able to fit that in here.
who put this together?
John.
It should be shot. Because every page is upside down. You got one page right side up, the next page is upside down. You're being cheap with the paper and trying to double side. Come on. Pain in the neck. One thing we did run into with Domino's is they said they didn't require a grease trap because they're serving the same kind of food as you, and it turns out they needed a grease trap.
I'm not disagreeing with the grease trap. I do believe that we're going to need one of those regardless. I think Board of Health requires that no matter what, but we wouldn't need a hood. But I do think that we would need a grease trap, yes.
And on your hours, I was kind of taken back by the hours on Sunday night. 12 to
Again,
11.
this was more of like a broad range thing. You know, we didn't want to restrict, but Sunday night, yeah, we're not going to be open till 11 o'clock. Do we have 11 o'clock?
I would suggest 7.
Excuse me?
7 o'clock at night on a Sunday. Everybody's got to go to work the next day.
I'd probably be 8 o'clock, I would say. It'd probably be 8 o'clock, 7, 8.
And then on holidays too. So if you have Columbus Day weekend, you got a 3-day weekend. That Monday night, you put in here 11, so that's what I have to go by. It doesn't matter what you tell me, I have to go by what you put into the...
Yeah, I mean, I believe, again, the hours could
also be limited back to
changed,
7
but they
or 8
would probably
o'clock.
be reduced, if anything, you know? I don't think, there's no way we're looking to be open any later, but, you know, we'd like to tighten that up, because if, there's no way that we would survive with just paying, you know, 35 employees being at the building with nobody there, so.
Jurisdiction on hours of operation. Us?
Yeah, it's not that, I don't think anybody has a specific jurisdiction, I'm not sure.
Okay. Because, you know, 12 to 9, Monday through Thursday, that's fine. That'll be great in the summertime. Not going to be very busy during the school year.
I actually think summertime is going to be our lowest time, so winter is more what we're focused on, to be honest. You know,
Not Monday through Friday.
Excuse
Kids
me?
are not Monday through Friday, the kids are in school.
I know. Yeah.
So how do you plan on filling the place Monday through Friday?
Oh, it's got to be open because we need to make money to pay the lease. So we're hoping to be able to attract, to be honest, we get there a little bit earlier than, say, 2 o'clock. Say it opened at 1 or 2, but we'd have to be there earlier and make sure everything's going. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, but because you're there early doesn't mean it has to open.
So we've attended and done the research out at other facilities across the state in all hours. And we've witnessed that although you think during the week of school week, there's no one there, well, the people with children that's before, you know, the age of, you know, 5 and stuff, we are targeting them as well. You know, we're going to have a smaller play place, you know, in there that kids can crawl around, and then miniature golf, you know, 5-year-olds are playing that aren't in the school system yet. So we do see that, things are busy between 12 and 4, before kids get out of school and, then want to come to the facility afterwards, to school-age children. So we have witnessed this firsthand, that these facilities are packed across the state where, during those hours, they could be busy, midday, or they could be, one town could have a teacher, development day, and those parents are looking for things to do with their children, and we don't have the school scheduled for the entire state, but Central Massachusetts, there's schools that are off random days all over the place. So we need to be able to target those clients when they have those days off, or, for those reasons. So.
Personally, I don't have a problem with the 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday. I have a major problem with 11 o'clock on a Sunday or a holiday. I think I'm going to make a condition that you can't be open past 8 on Sunday or a holiday.
Yeah, I would just say that some holiday weekends, like people are looking to do things to the standard hours, that they would be out at 9 o'clock, would be kind of, I would think that 9 o'clock is when a lot of even retail stores are open till, Home Depot's open till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, so therefore, if retail's.
See where Home Depot is? It's not next to a woman's house.
Yeah, I understand that. We're not trying to.
It's way up on a hill where the old Twin Drive-In, the old Lowe's Drive-In was. There's
Yeah.
nothing up there, there's nobody around. Makes a big
So-
difference. So I'm going to put a condition on that. I mean, you can take it up with the selectmen or whatever, but I just don't think that 11 o'clock on a Sunday, now, if it's a 3-day weekend, and you want to stay open till 9 on a Sunday, I don't have a problem with that. But that following day, it should be 8. That's
I
gonna be
I would
that's
ask
gonna be
you
my
for 9,
recommendation.
as a minimum. I think 9 o'clock, if you have clients in there that are, bowling at 7 PM, sometimes a round of bowling takes 2 hours, and therefore you can't, you flick the lights off at,
I didn't see a bowling alley in here in your presentation.
it was mentioned, I believe, in there.
Catch that.
So it's minor lanes, it's not a full alley, it's, not 30 lanes, it's 12. It's the style where the pins pick up with the, strings, they call them, string bowling. It's not your competition, we're not hosting bowling tournaments there. It's more targeted for, the children that bowl. But, there's often, I bring my kids out, not on Sundays till 9
not
o'clock,
on
but
Sunday night.
on a weeknight that they don't have school the next day, I would. In
fine.
the summertime, when it's not even dark at 9 o'clock, we wouldn't want to be limited to 8 o'clock on a Sunday during the, summer to not being open till 9. I think that's fairly unreasonable when the sun's still out, and the kids don't have school the next day, to be closing before the sun's down, would be kind of unreasonable, in my opinion.
That's your opinion, and my opinion is different, but I would say in the summertime, you could have summer hours of 12 to 9, and during the school year, 12 to 8 during the week. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Bolero's open till 10? So the bowling alley in town's open till 10, that's close to residential properties that abuts it too?
Where's Bolero? Where?
So, Auburn Bowling Alley down the road is open till 10. I don't know why we'd be under a different set of rules
More
than
a
that.
grown-up establishment than a kid's establishment, but... And when you're applying for a full liquor license, you're not catering to the young kids, you're catering to the adults, in my opinion.
I think we're broad stroking catering to all, right? We're looking to, children, if you look at, we're looking to mirror Apex Entertainment. If you go in there, it's mostly kids, the majority percentage-wise, but you also want, to be able to service the full aspect of the clients, and some, full liquor. We're not looking to serve a full restaurant style of food. We're not looking for people to sit in there and hang out all day, eating, a full dinner. We're looking to entertain them, the idea. So again, I would just ask the board to consider what the other facilities in town are allowed that have the same aspect, if you look at it. even the bowling alley on the same road, down the road, has some arcade games in there. They have bowling. They have, some sort of liquor license there. They serve food, and they're open till 10.
They also have a big buffer zone between them and the neighborhood.
Understood. And
None.
we're not looking to create noise outside the space. We're looking to keep the noise internal.
I know
Light.
what your intent is, but intent and $5 might get you half a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You know what I mean? You can intend all you want. Now, let's get to the sign. Why do we have to have that huge sign as you presented? Why can't we have a sign next to the road where it's not in somebody's face? Put up a sign.
I think there needs to be a sign on the building stating what it is.
Yeah, but it could be toned down a lot.
We could, again, the sign on this is just an AI depiction of what,
You're in here for a special permit.
Yeah,
I
understood.
am going to pick you apart because it's a special permit. And I have an obligation to the people of the town, not an obligation to you.
The sign is just, it's not an accurate depiction of what the sign will look like on the building.
Well, then we need to have an accurate, what it's going to look like on the building.
Why? All you need is,
Why?
all you need to know is
Because I
that
asked for it, Todd.
the sign
I'm
is gonna
concerned about the
comply with
neighbors.
the
I'm not
zoning.
concerned about you. I'm not concerned about them. You want to sit here and argue with me, I'll argue with you all night long.
No,
I can put conditions on this. We can put conditions on this.
we only have to provide a sign that complies with the zoning bylaw. If we don't comply with the bylaw, we'll have to go to
Unless you're
zoning.
beaming into her kitchen or bedroom or whatever. I'm talking about being a good neighbor. That's not being a good neighbor. I know you don't care because you don't live in town, right?
That has nothing to do with
Okay.
anything. We do care. In fact, if you remember, we worked actually closely with this neighbor when we did the Webster 5 project. I was a part of that project, and I implored our client to work with the neighbor, and we did.
It's a whole different ballgame. Bank,
Just saying, you
arcade.
said I don't care about what the neighbor thinks. I don't appreciate that comment. So what I'm saying is,
I really don't care.
we do, and this group, I think, has shown nothing but an ability to, or a comment that they will work with her, no problem. We're happy to work on the lighting. The signage, it's not uncommon that you see a building that doesn't have a sign that's fully designed. That's not uncommon.
Usually when you're going to invest this type of money, as you've shown in here,
Absolutely.
got a-
So
you got a pretty good idea what you're going to put up for design.
So I can tell you, we are here right now partly because of the process that we need to go through with the bankruptcy court. And I didn't want to go too far down this rabbit hole because it's not truly all that relevant. But we needed to get in here to propose this so we can get through an approval process and figure out if we can make it to the next step through that process and through the investment process that these gentlemen are going through. So there are elements of this project, as you heard, the bathroom, what's the final design on the bathroom? Going through that now as part of this process. Signage, going through that now as part of this process. Some of those things are lagging behind a little bit, not unreasonable in my opinion, because what we're really proposing is the use and a reuse of an existing building facility.
Well, I understand what you're doing. Let me ask you this, Adam. If we give them a special permit, not these guys, could be anybody, and their deal doesn't work out, can they transfer that special permit, or does someone else have to come in and reapply? 'Cause once that special permit's permitted for that property,
Special permit is normally only permitted for the individual, not for that doesn't run with the land.
okay. Mr.
Bud, can you show us exactly, I'm looking at the sign, I'm saying, what part is the sign, and you're gonna change the facade of the building to make it up at that angle? and
This is
so high up above?
this is a totally contrived, this is just to give a sense of what.
Well, that makes
this
it look
is.
like, I'm saying, they must be changing the whole front.
Yeah, this,
Windows are.
That sign, if we were going to build our own building, which we did initially explore, looking for land to build our own building, and we would be presenting this to you if we're going to build our own building. Taking a building and have an architectural or conceptual drawing of an existing building is completely different. We're not doing that to the facade of the building. We're going to have a sign that's no bigger than the one that's on there now that says the zone. If lighting is the issue, which it sounds like it is, We will address that. We are not going to look to beam a light across the parking lot. That's not, we want to be good neighbors. Trust me. We want no issues with the people of the town. We want support from the people.
I've heard it before, trust me, checks in the mail too. So, I believe you have good intentions, but things don't always work out as they want.
And earlier you talked about, Todd, you said there's going to be approximately 200 to 400 people in the building at probably the heaviest time.
I think Tim mentioned that. Yep, between 12 and 4 is anticipated to be the peak. Yep.
Could be that many people. And, because I kind of got an issue with a full liquor license with that many people. And if it was all adults, but it can be kids, the drinking age is 18, right?
Oh, 21.
21. So they'll, kids can come in and drink too.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, are they going to find it as a haven and a good place to hang out, and then they can drink and stuff like that? And I don't know that.
So
Nobody does.
I'd suggest, and I'm just guessing, that you've never been to Apex in Marlboro or a similar facility. This is sort of a mini version of that in some ways. And those facilities have laser tag rooms, bowling alleys, golf simulator. I don't know if they golf simulator, but I think they do mini golf. So there's kind of different areas. And what you end up doing is you bring your kids, well, you don't want to go play laser tag with them, so you go grab a beer while they're having laser tag. And that's primarily what I think the goal is. This
Beer and wine license only satisfy you? Or do you want to go for the full liquor license?
You gotta go to the selectmen for the liquor license, right? You gotta go to the selectmen for the liquor license, yeah.
And the state.
So the reason that we'd be going for a full liquor license is not everybody drinks beer, and not everybody drinks wine. Some people like, a mixture of a vodka soda or something like that. Seems to be a very common drink. So we want to be able to cater to everybody. I mean, there's restaurants all around this town that you don't see, they serve full liquor licenses all day long. Kids and families are welcome there too, and you don't get any hanging out. The reason would also be that we're going to have security there. That's the entire reason, to make sure that there's nobody looking like they got overserved or there's an issue. They'll be escorted and asked to leave safely, and those are the choices that we have to make to be able to protect the other customers. We can't be worried about getting certain individuals drunk over there. We need to protect the children that are there too, and our workers.
The place in Marlboro, Apex, what would be a time where you would look, which would have, a pretty full complement of people?
12 to 4, Saturdays and Sundays. That would be probably our busiest time frame.
And there's
Yeah, same for theirs.
The audience?
just make a suggestion. The type of license would ultimately be, something that's under the purview of the Board of Selectmen, so we have to go to them, request a full liquor license. If they have the same concerns and they say beer and wine only, then I guess we'd have to live with that. But I think at this, at this level, we're just telling you what's within the facility, and we would ask that you defer that issue to the Board of Selectmen.
Issue the special permit. Do they have to come back before the board for signage, lighting, all that stuff?
For a sign, if it meets the bylaw, building commissioner has purview. If he needs relief from the sign bylaw, goes to the ZBA for a special permit for a sign permit.
Okay. And then the rest is on the building inspector for the interior.
Yeah, correct. And fire, correct.
Health department for the HVAC.
Correct.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the special permit for...
Close it.
I'm sorry. May I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move to close the hearing.
May I have a second?
John, are they coming back again?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Glenn?
Aye.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy's and I, you get the special permit.
We also did apply for site plan.
Did.
Yes, sir.
But seeing as there's no site plan submitted because you're not changing the site.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a specific waiver request, but to the extent that you need a waiver request, I'm happy to submit one. We would obviously be waiving basically all the checkboxes on the waiver list that you have: topography, landscape, site plan prepared by a professional engineer, proposed drainage drainage calculations, and the like. And our rationale is obviously it's.
Yeah, I don't know of any drainage problems over there or anything like that, Todd.
Sorry?
I've never seen any problems over there with drainage, but I'm not there all the time either, but I wouldn't expect you to have to do that.
We could take a vote to see whether or not the board feels that it's a substantive change to go from what it was to where it is now, and then
Well, that's, the business is substantive change, but the site isn't, the site's staying the same.
the site remains the
Yeah,
same.
they're just they're gonna coat it and reline the parking.
Yeah.
And how many handicap spaces are we gonna have for 261?
I think I have the calculation somewhere, or at least as to what's existing. But if they're going to do a restripe, they would need to. There's 6 there now. 6, yeah, 6 currently.
I asked them to submit the striping plan when it's ready, so we can check it and condition that.
Okay.
So, to the chair, a special permit with this board almost always requires a site plan. That's why they applied for both, even though there really is no formal site plan like a new build. It's still required per the bylaw. That's why they applied this way. So they need the vote of both a approve or deny, however you want to vote, for the special permit and then for the site plan.
The special permit's been approved, so
It was close the hearing.
We
did
closed
close
the
the
hearing.
hearing.
We didn't vote on the approval of the special permit,
No,
right?
we just voted on the
no,
special
we
permit.
closed the site.
Close the hearing.
Closed, we closed the hearing.
Close the hearing, and then I asked for the vote.
The vote was for the special permit.
Just for the special permit, not for the site plan. Now we gotta do one for the site plan.
Could we approve this, could we go with the vote on site plan with conditions?
Yes. The condition will be that they come back before the board and present the striping, how many handicap spots, all that. That's a nothing, that's an in and out.
Could we add the Board of Health approvals as well as part of the
They
conditions?
have to go through the Board of Health for the,
Separate, that's a separate
yeah,
process.
it's all separate.
That's a standard condition in the approvals.
Yeah.
They meet all town
All the
boards.
other agencies.
Right, like fire department, all that stuff, police department, all that stuff, they gotta go through that. So, may I have a motion to approve the site plan if they represent their striping plan, number of handicap spots?
Zero lighting and shields on the lights that
Correct.
give protection to those people up on the hill, okay? And adequate handicap spots.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, John Reagan, aye, is a vote.
Thank you.
There's a misconception about lighting. There really is a huge misconception. They say zero light at the property line. Yeah, the light doesn't go into your property. Doesn't mean you can't see it from a mile away.
We're happy
But I
to
mean,
work,
that-
we're happy to work
People have
with the
that
neighbor.
misconception. They're not going to see it, but
Who made a motion and second for the special permit? I didn't get that.
Rakesh made the motion. Glenn seconded it, and we all voted yea.
We don't have anybody take minutes yet, so I'm trying to take.
What's that?
I don't have anybody to take minutes yet, so I'm trying to take notes.
The video.
I know, but still. I don't want to watch the video. I live in this once is enough.
They hired somebody for-
Not yet. No, they're not, our position's not filling.
Next on the agenda is...
Excuse me, we need you guys to clear the room, please.
We can't hear it here because you're out there talking. Please go downstairs. Next on the agenda is addition of section 5.3.4 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to allow for a reduced frontage lot with a special permit with limitations such as the percentage of reduction must be matched by the increase in the area.
Motion open.
May I have a motion to open the hearing?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Glenn?
Aye.
Aye.
Rakesh, aye. Ron?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy, did aye. It is a vote. Hearing is now open.
So through the chair, I think most of you have been through this before. When zoning bylaw changes proposed for a town meeting, by state law, they have to have a public hearing with this board, which is why these four are being presented to you. So this first proposed change has been developed by the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee. The idea is to allow for, in certain cases, a reduced amount of frontage if they have a similar percentage of larger area. So I'm not explaining this very well, don't mind me. If you have normally you have 100 feet of frontage, and you have a lot that has 90 feet of frontage, you're reducing the frontage by 10%. You
Increase
have to
the square
have
footage.
1,000 more square footage to meet that 10. So it's just to allow some infill in areas that
Well,
They
at
have
what point,
enough
how
area.
far down do we offer it? Because we do offer hammerhead lots with a,
it's going to be treated similar to a hammerhead lot. They need a special permit with this board. But instead of going to 50 feet, you can only go down 25% depending on the
so a 100-foot lot can only go to 75 feet.
correct.
No less than
Or like 180-foot or 160-foot frontage in the RR, you can go down to 120. So it depends on what district you're in.
that. That's reasonable.
May I have a motion to approve the reduced
You
frontage?
close.
Motion to close the hearing.
Make the motion.
May I have a second? All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Gave Jason the
So-
motion.
I move to recommend to town meeting adoption of Article 18, accessory dwelling units, and this article meets, sorry.
That's the wrong one. Sorry, they're out of order.
Yeah, sorry. I move to recommend to town meeting adoption of Article 20, reduced frontage lot with special permit.
I'll make the motion.
I just made the motion.
You made the motion, I'll second it, yeah.
Need a second?
He seconded.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy, did aye. It is a vote. Next on the agenda is delete section 9.3.5 multifamily dwelling of Auburn zoning bylaw to eliminate wording that does match recent changes made to the bylaw. May I have a motion to open a hearing?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron? Jason?
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy, did aye. It is a vote. It is now open.
So the chair, this zoning change was also reviewed by the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee over the past few months. The intention of striking this section of the bylaw is a lot of the language is dated, some of it's redundant, and some of these removals are necessary to meet the MBTA requirement law. So for example, the Section 9361, such dwelling will have a maximum height of 25 feet. The height of structures, residential structures, was changed 2 years ago to 35 feet, so this was language that was kind of just forgotten a couple of years ago. Or such dwellings are sewered. That's a little redundant, because they either have to be sewered or they'd have to meet Title V, so it's,
This is the 9351?
yep,
Striking
Changing
the
the
whole
height.
thing.
yep. Sorry?
It's changing the height of the eaves.
No, that's,
It's already been changed,
It's already been changed. It's striking.
38 feet. This is the old language that was kind of contradicting in the bylaws.
yeah.
It's from 91. I wasn't even born yet.
So 9.3.6.3, only one multifamily dwelling structure per lot is allowed. What has that been changed to?
If you can, it depends on what you can fit on the size of the lot. So this has to do with the MBTA community, so you can have multiple buildings, but they can't be currently more than, you can't have more than 12 units per building, and they would have to meet all the other bylaw requirements. Have to meet setbacks, parking, lighting. It's just, you're allowed to fit more than one building if there's room.
12 units per building.
Yep, no more than 12. So it's trying to keep the scale smaller, but not a crazy 190-unit complex kind of thing. Try to keep it reasonable.
May I have a motion to eliminate the wording that does not match? Oh, yeah. May I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move to close the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron? Jason?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, aye. May I have a motion to approve the deletion of this part of the bylaw?
I move that, to approve the deletion of section 9.3.5 of the multifamily dwelling bylaw.
5 or 6?
9 point, yeah.
Second?
6.
6.
Sorry, I apologize, 9.3.6.
But on the hearing notice, it
Yeah,
says,
that's just.
I'll second that motion.
Typo, yeah.
should that be 9.3.6, Adam?
Yeah, it
6,
should be
yep,
6.
should be 6.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron? Jason? Myself, John Regan, aye. It is a vote. Amendments to section 9.3.1.2, accessory apartments. The Auburn zoning bylaw proposed changes include size limitations and allowing for detached accessory apartments.
I move to open the hearing.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself, John, aye. It is a vote. The hearing is now open.
Through the chair, the zoning bylaw review committee again reviewed this. They spent several months reworking this bylaw. Most of the changes that are presented in this is stemming from the new state law that was passed last August, mandating that special apartments no longer can be permitted with a special permit. They consider that change unreasonable. So they're eliminating a lot of the restrictions that across statewide that were on accessory apartments, such as deed restrictions or owner occupancy requirements. So a lot of what we had is just not gonna, we can't uphold this. It's state laws overruled this. So we've tried to strike what is now, what we can't limit, and add what we can to try to have some control.
Adam, is this also part of the MBTA communities?
Not specifically, they're linked, but they're not specifically.
My question is, so if you have a attached or detached, usually you have to get a permit to have it as an apartment. Like if I threw an in-law apartment on my house, I can't rent it to somebody that's not part of the family, I believe. I may be mistaken.
That used to be the case. Now that's all changed. Now you can rent it to anybody. The owner does not have to live there. It can be detached or attached. Before it had to be attached. There's no more deed restrictions, and there's no more special permit. You still need a building permit.
Right.
So basically all, what used to be required by a special permit, all falls in the building commissioner to uphold.
So essentially house hacking a two-family out of a single family.
Kind of, yeah.
Say, Jason?
House hacking.
Single family,
yeah.
two-family.
We're making a 2 out of a 1.
Basically, even though a duplex in this town still needs a special permit. So part of the difference in that is the size limitations. It's either you can have a maximum of 900 square feet, or it can't be more than 50% larger than your house, whatever it is smaller. So you have a 1,200 square foot house, you can't have an accessory apartment more than 600 square feet. If you have 2,000 square foot building, you can't have one more than 900. So it's just
So even if you have a 4,000 square foot house, 900 is the max.
correct.
Right, but I believe they're only allowing one bedroom.
Correct. The intent of that was to limit a great number of school children.
That's fine, but I mean, to me, if you put on an addition on your house or a separate dwelling on your lot, and not every married couple can sleep together, some snore, some don't, so one's got to sleep on the couch while the other one sleeps in the bed, I don't go along with that at all. Should be a maximum of 2 bedrooms. That's what I'd like to see.
So we changed that to 1 bedroom and then increased it to 900 square feet from 700, right? The
Glad
requirement.
it's already,
900 is the max.
900 is the max.
So if you have a
with one
1,000-foot
bedroom.
square house, you only put on a 500-foot addition or a 500-square-foot separate unit, which is 10 by 50.
What did you want to do, John? Say it.
I want to make the maximum number of bedrooms 2.
Two. And only still 900 square feet, or
I think
go to
that
1,000 or something?
we got to come into a better sweet spot than that, because, I mean, if you have, like I said, a 1,000-foot square house, 500 square feet is not a lot of room to live in with 2 people. With a kitchen, you have to have separate
Yeah.
everything, kitchen, bathroom, all that stuff. You're limiting your rooms to probably 10 by 10. That's 200 square feet right there. And now you only got 300 square feet left, so that's not a lot of square footage, not even counting the kitchen, the bathroom, or the bed, you know, or the living room.
Now, is this something we can change, or?
Yeah, it can be tweaked. I would hesitate on the square footage because that pairs what the state law is. Changing that may present other hurdles. Namely, we could require other,
Can we make in addition to this, a special permit if you have to be over 50% of your square footage?
you could do that. That I would suggest if you'd like to do that, let me write something for the fall town meeting. Get this through.
That and a maximum of 2 bedrooms.
Leicester did pass, I don't know if it passed the AG, but it passed town meeting last fall up to 1,300 square feet for an accessory apartment
Okay.
with a special permit. So it can be done, but I don't have time to write something before Monday.
I appreciate the honesty, Dr. Menard.
This goes to the printer Monday. I have to write other things before then.
So could we just eliminate the 50%, and just make it a maximum of 900 square feet? Is that a lot of work? Or
I think we have to take it as it is right now.
special permit required if you have to go over that square footage?
My preference would be if we're going to allow larger accessory apartments, let me do something for the fall, and I can add or change language at that point. If we don't have anything on the books for the spring, what the state rules are going to be, what we're going to have to go by. So this has some stuff the state law doesn't have. So if this passes town meeting, at least we'll have a little bit of something to hang our teeth on, where if this doesn't go anywhere at town meeting, where we just have to go by what the state does. So if I can change, if I want to tweak something in the fall, that'll give me some time to look at other towns, see what they did to have larger units or multiple bedrooms.
I say we accept what we have now and allow Dr. Menard the time to make a correction for the fall, or make amendment for the fall meeting, fall town meeting.
I don't have a problem with
Huh?
that. I said, I don't have a problem with that.
Wait until the fall on that one.
Well, vote on this as it is,
And
and
then
accept it, and then Adam can work on something to kind of reinvent the wheel this fall.
Mr. Chairman, what's the article number on this subject that we're talking about, do you know?
9.3.12.
It's Article
No, I
20,
mean
Article.
the article at
20,
at
maybe?
town meeting, Article 20?
maybe 20. The zoning articles are kind of in the middle of the, it's like 18 to 21, something like that.
I wasn't given the article number,
I
so.
don't have it with me.
I think it's Article 19.
Or do I have it with me? I don't know, I have so many papers, I don't know what to do with.
I think we have Article 19 written down here, multifamily dwelling,
Okay.
so.
May I have a motion to, anybody have anything to say?
Close.
May I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move to close the hearing?
May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Can we get a vote on the close first?
Yeah. You made the motion, Ron seconded.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody vote yes.
I'll vote aye.
I,
Aye.
No, I didn't get that far yet.
Aye.
Aye. It's now closed. May I have a motion to approve as submitted?
I move to recommend the town meeting adoption of Article 19 on multifamily dwelling units. It's Section 9.3.12.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
It is a vote. I'm an aye. Next on the agenda is amendment to section 5.2.7.2, building height to change how a building is measured from the highest ceiling to the highest point of the roof.
John, can I just ask, Adam, what's the significance of that? What would someone want that? Oh, okay.
May I have a motion to open the hearing?
Move to open the hearing.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Marrakesh?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy, is an aye, is a vote. It is now open. Okay, Ron.
I'm just curious, what's the significance? Just say if the ceiling here went from right where the eaves hits the wall or the slope and goes, the ceiling goes across where the bars are,
Yep.
and they want to measure from the bars up to the highest point, which we'll say is up where the balloon is, right, Adam?
Yeah, so
I'm just curious what the significance of that measurement is.
So currently, yeah, if we're going by the bars is the highest ceiling, that's how it'll be currently measured. So you have 15 feet more of peak that is not measured as the height of the building. So
As
instead
what?
with this change, is not counted as the height of the, anything above that bar is not counted as the height of the building.
This changes that to the
This
height.
changes that, this will change it to the peak of the roof.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to be reducing the height of buildings to
You could
actually
have,
30.
say it's 38 feet, right? So the highest ceiling, so that's your highest ceiling. Well, you could have a house that has an attic that's 20 feet tall, and now you're 58 feet.
Right.
And there's nothing to say about it. If we do this and make it to the highest peak on the roof, that limits the height of the building, where the other way didn't. I didn't understand it the old way anyway, but
Adam, what's the bylaw like when they're building some of these complexes and, or different housing units, 4s and 6s, and there used to be a bylaw that there was always a concern for the height of the eaves. They measured by the height of the eaves, to the height of the eaves, so the eave was like where pigeons would hide in the sides of a building or something like that, and, that height always was 32 feet. You said they changed it to 35?
But it was changed to 35 in all residential districts and 70 to 110 feet in commercial districts. It was 25 in in most residential districts. So it was different, depending on the district, the height was different. So that was changed 2 or 3 years ago. In all residential districts, it's now 35 feet.
now is this going to be to the peak?
This change will be to the peak.
Okay.
We won't count superstructures such as the tower. That's above the peak, so that wouldn't really be counted. That's more of a decorative adornment or an antenna on top of a house. We're not going to count that as building height.
Talking about the main portion of the house.
Right.
Adam, I have just a process question, maybe just purely hypothetical. Say if we had a developer come in with an site plan application, we're reviewing it, we send it to Graves, now we make this change, which bylaws would they be subjected to, the previous one or this one, the updated one?
If they applied before the AG makes a decision, they'd be adhering to the previous one. So once the AG makes a decision, that's the date any changes start.
I see, okay.
So this goes before town meeting,
Correct.
which is
May 7th,
May 7th.
I think.
So if the town accepts all of these new bylaw changes, how long does it take before the AG approves?
They have 90 days. Though they can ask for an extension, they did that once, but generally it's 90 days,
Okay, so you're talking May, June, July,
August.
August.
Yep. That's normally when we hear back.
May I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move to close the hearing.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Myself, Jerry's an aye, is a vote, it's closed. May I have a motion to accept the amendment 5.2.7.2 for the building height?
I move to recommend to town meeting adoption of Article 21, building height, Section 5.2.7.2.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Rakesh? Ron?
Aye.
Myself, John Reed, aye. It is a vote. Next on the agenda is applicant Arbor Recycling requesting site plan approval under Section 9.4.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a warehouse at 4749 Rockland Road, Auburn, map 17, parcel 177 and 224. They have asked for a continuance to our next meeting of April 22nd.
I move to continue to the next meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rakesh? Ron?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Self Jennings and aye. There is no discussion of anything, modification. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for our 3/11/2025 meeting as submitted?
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. It is a vote. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as submitted for our March 25th, 2025 planning board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Self Jennings and aye. It is a vote. There's no new business unforeseen by me. Is there a town member, planning member update? No. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, myself, John Reed, aye. The meeting is now adjourned.